Welcome to Sweethearts or Rivals. I'm Charla.
I'm Justin.
What's on our table today?
Escalation. Dun, dun, dun.
That's Eminent Domain.
Right. Eminent Domain with the expansion Escalation.
Right. And this is going to be our impressions of what Escalation adds to the game.
Correct.
So Eminent Domain with Escalation is a game that can play either 2 up to 5 players.
Yep.
It's going to take you about 45 minutes, and they recommend it to be played with ages 10 and up.
Yeah. And
it's published by Tasty Minstrel Games.
Mm-hmm. Right on.
So what does Escalation add to the base game of Eminent Domain besides the 5th player?
One of the big things it adds is everyone starts off with a basic fleet tile. And what that lets you do is, in the base game, the 3 different types of ships don't actually mean anything different. They just represent ships.
They're just ships.
That's it.
Mm-hmm.
But in Escalation, suddenly they are different. The fighters are little fighters. They can be upgraded to the medium-sized destroyers, and they can be upgraded to the really big battle cruiser. The basic fleet tile gives you those actions in order to upgrade them. Or you can even use technology or research to upgrade to an improved fleet so that you can increase your fleet's power even quicker and better. So there's that, which is really cool, very thematic, because it didn't make sense in the base game to have one of these little tiny fighters be the same thing as this giant battlecruiser. So now they are all different. They have different powers. It's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
To go along with that, there's a lot more planets that are added that require different levels of fighters or destroyers, or some of them even require battle cruisers for you to take over.
Mm-hmm.
A whole bunch of new technology cards. And then the big thing that it adds to the game are the scenarios. So with the base game of Eminent Domain, everybody starts off with the exact same deck.
Mm-hmm.
And then you just go from there. And you get a random starting planet. So you can kind of do whatever you want, and you don't really have a focus. With the scenario, you start off with a specialized deck, a technology that helps with that kind of focused strategy, and it also gives you a specific starting planet.
Mm-hmm.
And so suddenly you have kind of a focus goal. This is what your culture, your planetary culture, is kind of known for, so that's how you're going to start the game. It doesn't mean you couldn't change it, but it wouldn't make sense to change it that much.
Yeah, you'd be starting kind of 2 steps behind if...
Yeah, instead of a step forward.
Right.
Yeah. So, very, very interesting. I really like the scenario aspect.
Me too.
Yeah, especially if you start off with a couple at the beginning of the game and you can kind of choose what kind of game do I want to play this time.
Mm-hmm.
The playthrough that we just did was pretty much the first time I've ever really played up the Super Warfare survey.
Mm-hmm.
And so not only did it help me focus, but because there are so many technology cards and I don't really know what to go for, having that focus meant I'm good at surveying, I'm good at fighting, and because of this technology that I started off with, my fighting costs are like way low.
Mm-hmm.
It immediately is like, this is the research card I should be getting next.
Right.
Yeah.
And I found the same thing given the scenario.
Yeah.
Because I always get overwhelmed when all of something's available and you just get to choose one.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a player that would rather have a few choices to choose from, a few options.
Yeah.
And then just to pick the best out of that.
Yeah. Not 5 pages of them.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I get overwhelmed easily with that part.
Yep.
So my scenario was more of trading, so then I could just focus on the trading technologies.
Yeah. Yep.
It helped a lot.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is any kind of game that gives you kind of like an open, do whatever you want. Having some kind of goal to help focus helps in pretty much every game that we've had that has that.
Yeah, for me, for sure.
Yep. So that's what it adds. I would definitely want to have escalation with the base game.
Mm-hmm.
I think it adds so much to the game.
Well, just extra components too, like you said, extra planets and extra technologies.
Yeah. And the extra planets, the extra technologies, that doesn't add like a whole bunch of extra rules or anything like that, which is nice.
It just gives you more things to choose from, or just a little bit extra replayability.
Yeah. And I would argue that, you know, most games, if you're not used to the base game yet, like you haven't really played it and explored it all, don't get an expansion. But because of how we don't really like exploring all this technology and being overwhelmed by
all
it,
at once,
I would actually argue that getting Escalation with the base game helps you explore the game in a much better way, because you're not going to look at all the technology whenever you research.
You're going to focus on a few that will tailor to your scenario.
And it's really nice too, because my scenario being warfare, I started off with a metallic planet. So the first time I researched, I grabbed the metallic deck and I went through it. I never looked at any of the other decks.
Never.
No. It made sense that I went for the metallic. I started getting metallic planets, and the metallic-based technology lends itself thematically to this kind of role. So I think you went mostly fertile for your technology. Because again, the technology is based off of fertile words. There's a really nice thematic tie-in there.
Yes.
It's going to help you with production and trading and that kind of stuff. So that is very neat as well.
Right.
So even though we don't like all of the technology available, the scenarios and the thematic tie-ins help so you don't necessarily have to research all of them first. There is another expansion for Eminent Domain that just came out recently called Exotica. We haven't really gotten into it at all. We haven't checked it out. But if you love Eminent Domain, you've already got Escalation expansion, it might be something to definitely check out, because it's going to add some interesting new things to the game.
Yes, I'm going to have to research that a little bit and see what it's all about.
I'm pretty sure from what I read, I think it adds like alien stuff.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, now I have to read up on it.
Yeah, that's kind of neat. Yep. All right.
Awesome.
Anything else?
I think that's everything.
All right. That's Eminent Domain and Escalation.
Our impressions.
Yeah. Thanks a lot.
We'll see you in the next video.
Laters.